Okay, everybody, this is going to be our first part on why people don't get a 9 and what are the things that destroy people's marks. There are lots of things in CELPIP. These, however, are the most common mistakes, and I'm again telling you guys, more than 85% people do this. That's why a lot of people fail in the exam, and we think this is part of normal speech. We're also deceived by online samples that show that it's okay to do this and you'll still get a good score. That is not true. People who do these things absolutely score lesser, and you don't wanna. So let's see what they are. First thing we do very commonly, knowingly and unknowingly, is using ums. Okay, so when you use ums, when I'm talking, you can see I'm trying not to use ums. I am pausing instead. And if you are not pausing and you are using ums, you are adding fillers into your speech. I would also want to put so, and you cannot avoid, but if you say and too many times, it's also a filler. But I didn't put all of those. I just put because is the most common one and everybody uses it. Please don't use it. All right, if you are one of those participants who doesn't use it, examiners will notice it because, again, 1 out of 10 people don't use it, and that is what examiners want. It is not going to hurt your fluency if you pause for less than 2 seconds. More than 2 seconds is too much, but just pause instead of using and you will get your fluency mark. Plus, you will get the mark for confidence, which is tone, which we're going to come to later. But ums destroy your speaking mark completely. Please don't say ums in your exam. Using connectors, same thing. Connectors, conjunctions, same thing. People use only 3 main conjunctions: and, but, and so. Don't do that, all right? So you want to use instead of and. There's so many variations also, other than that, apart from that, furthermore, likewise, moreover, on top of that. Okay, instead of but, you have however, nonetheless, nevertheless. And instead of so, if you're concluding, therefore, hence, thereby, overall, conclusively. Once again, you can rewind this video and write those things down if you haven't seen our detailed lesson on connectors yet. But use connectors. Don't keep on saying and a million times. You lose marks for that as well. Timing is important in a way where you start exactly when the speaking prompt starts. Do not delay. Examiners know you're just trying to delay time, and that is going to make you lose marks. Just don't do that. Start on time. Finish 5 seconds before the finish time. This is not an examiner criteria. It's for yourself. If you ever try to finish on the 1 minute mark or 1.5 minutes, you will end up speaking more. That is what always happens. Try targeting to finish 5 seconds earlier, and you will notice you will actually go over that too. All right, so finishing and starting on time, super important. Structure, it's different with every question, but you want to make sure you have a structure with every question. Once again, get your notes ready. For task 1, the structure is you have your intro, giving your opinion. You have 3 points for your opinion, and then you rephrase your opinion at the end. For part 2, the description of an event, a person, or whatever the topic is, you would describe the person with just 3 points maximum. Remember, 10 points, you don't need to do that. If you just do 3 quality points, it's good enough. Just define, for example, your favorite possession is a Rolex watch. So define the look of it, the price of it, and where you bought it. Okay, 3 things are enough. Just define that in detail. In questions 3 and 4, when you're describing the picture, you describe as much as you can. The structure there, I will not say is 5 or 6 points, but describing the whole picture, the more you cover, the better it is. Go with that, but make sure you add the background, foreground in it. So that could be your starting sentence, what is happening in the background and foreground, what you predict to happen in the background and foreground, and in the middle, at least target 3 main points. But at the same time, try to include as many things as you can. I will say, if you are running out of time and there's still things left to say, you can say that overall everybody else is enjoying. Overall everybody else is busy in talking, in conversation. So you find a way to add 1 sentence that covers everybody else, like overall other people are doing this. Part 5, when you're comparing, once again here, you start with your opinion. I prefer this option versus the other. And then compare everything. You got to compare all the points that you prefer, but when I say everything, it means all the points that you prefer and all the points that you don't like from the other option, okay? You also have to criticize the other person. So that is why it's called a comparison question, because you have to show my thing is better versus the other guy. Now, use a combination of sentences here. If your object says this is worth 5,000 and the other person is 10,000, you can say my object is $5,000 lesser. This way you don't have to say my object is 5,000, yours is 10,000. So you save wordings by combining sentences, and that way you can cover as much as possible. The more you can in a minute, the better. When you go to part 6, the structure is you're mostly giving a bad news, right? So you start with unfortunately, or I'm sorry to say that this is what's happening. You give 2 to 3 reasons, 2 to 3 reasons only for why it's happening and how you cannot control the situation. At the end, you finish off with an alternative that, look, I cannot give you this, but maybe I can do this for you. All right, that's the structure for that. We have all these things written down in our template lesson. If you haven't seen our speaking template lesson, please check that out. Now, coming to part 7, when you have to give an opinion, give your opinion, followed by 3 points why you support your opinion, and the end, rephrase your opinion. That's it. When you come to speaking part 8, you explain, you have the conversation with someone. So you do your greeting at the start, greeting at the end, and in the middle, 3 to 4 points. Explaining the picture or explaining the situation, 3 to 4 points are enough. So that's it, guys. Went over it a little fast because we have covered it in our template discussion. But if you haven't seen it, please check it out. And if you want to rewind this video, pause, take notes on the structure, do that. Because structure is super important. People usually just go in and talk and just say whatever they want. You have marks for structure, so you have to keep it organized, okay? Tone. When you're talking to a friend, for example, in part 1, this is just an example. You're giving a suggestion. You're telling the person, I want you to lose weight because you're going to just kill yourself. Don't say it like how I said it. It's monotone. You need a very natural tone when you talk to a friend. Please, Bob, I beg you, do not continue your junk food diet. I really want you to get better. Emphasis, okay, volume changes, fluctuations. That's what native speakers do, but not what non-native speakers do. And if you have a monotone, robotic tone in the exam, forget getting a 9 or more. Vocabulary, we've done numerous lessons in this course on it. Make sure your vocab is strong. It is not basic words like good, bad, sad, but instead marvelous, detrimental, gloomy, and everything should be just upgraded. You want to say big, say gigantic, massive, colossal. You want to say small, say tiny, trivial, insignificant. Every vocab you can make better, make it better. And task response, again, just follow our template and what I explained in the structure. You will make sure you hit the task response. It's just a separate point to mention because people lose marks here when they go off topic. For example, the part 8 question is about defining what is happening in a certain environment, but people get too involved in the greeting. Hey, how are you, Bob? How's your wife? How's your family? I haven't seen you for a long time. That is 30 seconds gone, right? So if it's saying focus on the picture, focus on the picture, please. Don't go in the greeting too much. Greeting is just a way to do the intro and conclusion. If question number 5 is talking about comparison, focus on how my object is better than your object. Do the comparison. Don't say, I have been thinking about this object. It's a really hard thing to think about. I cannot come to a decision here. All those extra things that you are saying, which fill up your intro, you will see if you do it too long, you end up going over time and you end up not giving enough time to the actual content. So make sure you look and read the question, focus on the thing that is being said, keep your intro and conclusions limited. And once again, check out our template lesson because that is where you have exact intro and conclusions written out. If you do those, you won't have the problem of going away from the topic. All right, avoid these mistakes, and we're gonna go with part 2 very soon here. Why do people not get a 9 in CELPIP or more is because they make too many mistakes and they think it's okay. A lot of online samples deceive you into thinking that's okay. Remember, you can only have 1 grammar mistake. I would prefer you have 0, but you can have 1 only grammar mistake if you want to get a 9, which means you won't get a 12 because you have that one mistake, but you might get 9 or 10 because 1 is not too many. If you have 2 mistakes, some people say even with 2 mistakes you can get a 9, but more than 2 is too much. Like if you have 3 mistakes, forget a 9. It doesn't matter how good your English or rest of the speaking was. You only should really target 1 grammar mistake, basically target 0, but let's allow 1 grammar mistake. Okay, can you still get a 9 with 1 grammar mistake? Hell, you can get 10, 11 because it's just 1 mistake. Okay, not a big deal. But what else you need, these are your speaking needs per question. Okay, so the other need you have, other than basically having no mistake in grammar, just 1, is 1 complex sentence as well. We have covered complex sentences in another lesson, but just to give you an overview, complex sentences are sentences which can be broken into 2 parts. For example, you start a sentence with a word like although I am on a diet, comma, I will still cheat today. 2 parts, right? Based on my experience with dieting, comma, I'll probably quit very soon. 2 points. Another one, concerning the weather outside is very scary, comma, I better stay at home. So 2 points. Whenever you have words starting with, to give you a few samples, because, due to, concerning, considering, since, as, although, I think I said due to. Due to is 1 as well. And based on, given that. All right, there are more, and we have done a whole lesson on it, but if you just want to take some quick notes, these are the main ones. And what you need is for every speaking question, use 1 complex sentence. This is per question, okay? So with each question, you should use 1 complex sentence at least. You should use at least 1 connector. Could be more. If it's a 90-second question, you can even use 2. But let's say at least 1 connector. I don't mean connectors like and but. They are simple. You want to use advanced connectors or conjunctions. If you do want to Google some, you can type conjunctions, and to name a few, you can use furthermore, other than that, apart from that, what's more, likewise, also, accordingly. All right, very handy to use because people mostly say and, so examiners are begging to hear conjunctions. All right, and then 2 to 3 fancy words. So fancy words are replacements for medium or high frequency words. For example, using a word like it would be great. Why don't you say it would be tremendous? It would be terrific. Okay, that's 1 advanced word. Words that are used less frequently, that are not too common. Okay, so you work hard. Instead of that, why don't you say you work diligently or assiduously? Words like this is clear, use them. Instead of that, say this is conspicuous. Words like important, use significant. Anything that could be upgraded, upgrade them. And if the examiner can see 2 to 3 fancy words in 1 question, you get good marks. I also mentioned here could be range, and range basically means adverbs and adjectives. These are used less often, so adverbs like ease, quickly, slowly, nicely. Adjectives, qualities, ugly, terrible, amazing, all those qualities. These are less used with sentences with most people. So in descriptions, usually these things are missing. So use that, and that could be also counted towards fancy words, and that is because you're using a range in that case mainly. So let's do a sample here to see how we could use all of that. Let's say we're doing the question about part 2, talk about a favorite possession you have. Okay, so I'm gonna go with my template, and we have a lesson on templates too. Now let's make sure we hit all these points, and this will satisfy our speaking needs per question in order to get a 9. All right, I'll highlight the things that I'm doing. I'm obviously not gonna make a mistake, hopefully, and let's get started. So there are lots of things in this life that I consider dear to me and close to me. However, I would say my laptop is the most essential and a significant thing that I hold dear to in my life due to the functionality that it delivers. Given that I work on my laptop for my business as well as my work, on top of the social media requirements, I consider it very vital to my life. On top of that, it is something that provides unlimited amounts of entertainment with high quality content on websites like YouTube and other social media platforms and outlets. Finally, it delivers great speed since it is a brand new laptop. Overall, I'm highly impressed with the laptop I use, and it's very crucial to my daily life. Okay, so you see, we used more than once the good things and avoided the bad thing, right? And that is going to give me a 9+ in this question, not only because of that, because of a lot of other factors like using expression, the structure, template, and finishing on time. So make sure you do all those things, avoid ums, avoid fillers as well, and satisfy these speaking needs per question. Make sure you do it in every question, every single question, and this will help you cross a 9, not keep you below it forever like it does for most students. Okay, thank you.